My name is Michael Jan Czajkowski. My father, Edmund Jan Czajkowski, was born near Bydgoszcz in Poland, and at the start of the war he was in the reserve for the Polish Air Force, and by that time working in Warsaw he was called up in late August and served at the headquarters of the Polish Air Force in Warsaw. When the Russians invaded from the east, his commanding officer told him to go to Romania, which he did with many of his colleagues. And of course, as you know, they were interned in Romania. Many of them were treated very badly. Many of them died from malaria. But my father was with the medical corps, so he was able to help other airmen. And also he traveled around with doctors, even helping the local inhabitants who had no resistance to malaria. Then, of course, the Polish government in exile based in Romania organized sort of mass escapes. And he walked along the railway line for 3 days to get to Constanza, where they took ship to Palestine. And from Palestine, they went by ship to near Marseille in France. And then initially they were based in a internment camp near the Pyrenees, Sepfons, and then transferred to Bron-Lyon, which was the headquarters of the Polish Air Force in France. He started training with the Polish units with the French Air Force, but of course then France collapsed before anything was really organized properly. And he then escaped and came by ship to Britain, landing at Liverpool around about early June 1940. He then was, first of all, he translated in a hospital for Polish patients, Polish Air Force patients. They were not seriously injured, but they were psychologically damaged and also malnutrition as well, because the French had not fed them properly. And also on board ship, there was no food or anything for 3 or 4 days. So when they got there, they were in a rather poor state. So they had to recuperate in this hospital near Gloucester. And then my father was sent to Scotland to be part of the 309 squadron, which, I haven't got it on me, but sometimes they carry the badge. And that was a reconnaissance squadron flying Lysander aircrafts. But later, of course, reconnaissance squadrons were already, at that time, something left from the First World War. They eventually transferred to a fighter squadron. But my father finished up at Blackpool, the headquarters, until he was demobbed, or rather until the end of the war. He was offered to stay on in the Royal Air Force as a warrant officer, but he didn't want to do this. He'd had enough. And his passion really was for architecture and design of furniture. That was his occupation in Warsaw. So he came to Lincolnshire, starting off his own business, designing and making furniture, and the business is still carries on today, run by me.
All right. So, what did he tell about Poland to you? What he said about his motherland?
Well, he didn't say very much, actually. I learned more from his sister, my aunt, when I went to Bydgoszcz after it was possible for me to travel in Poland in 1990. And my father really had left home at about 18, because he was born in 1906, so he remembered even the First World War. And he left home fairly early. He then studied as an architect in Berlin. In fact, he was in Berlin when Hitler came to power, and he always talked about the change that took place from when Hitler suddenly came to power. Everybody had to be quiet and not say anything. Before that time, everybody was talking and arguing politics, but after 1933, that finished. But his early life, we have some memories, or he has some memories that he passed on, of the hardships at the end of the First World War, when there was no food, because this Bydgoszcz was part of Germany then, of course. and life was difficult, you know. But when he came back from Berlin after studying to be an architect for furniture, he then moved to Warsaw and worked for a firm, I think a firm called Pfefferkorns. I've never been able to find it. But he even designed furniture for the Japanese embassy in Warsaw. So he must have been quite good at his job.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, very welcome.
Thanks.